What's up, guys? Hey, we're here in the middle of the day today. I think it's, what is it, 3 o'clock? Need some more cowbell. So we got Acoustic on here, C Stodar, Jax on your Ocean Bleed. Hey, thanks for joining, guys. Um, I made this a little bit earlier. I'm just kind of testing out a different time for live streams. I've been looking more at the YouTube analytics here to see when more people might be wanting to jump on the live stream. So testing this time. Normally, normally you guys know I do lives like at nighttime. Now I know you guys are probably from all over the place, but I know normally I do them at nighttime. My time, I'm on Eastern Standard Time here in Florida in the U.S. So, and I know that works for some, but a lot of folks overseas doesn't work so well for her. And I see I got Alex from the UK. Oh man, playing a Beatles tribute show in the UK on Sunday. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear you're playing out, by the way. So yeah, this is good stuff. Gospel Mark usually not home. Oh man, sorry to hear you guys are sick, man. Sorry to hear that. Uh, awesome to see you guys on though. But yeah, I just kind of come on for a little bit just to share some things with you guys. I'm gonna be changing strings. By the way, I've got a Takamine. This is a Takamine G series here. I don't know the exact model. I would have to pull off this whole cover to get that. My friend gave me this really nice whole cover here. And it doesn't really do a whole lot for the sound when you're playing it, but when you have it plugged in, it can prevent feedback on stage, so that's a good thing to have. But I don't want to take this off. I can see the model number, but if I take it off, it's really hard to get back on. So it's like, okay, once it's on, we're not touching it. I'm just leaving this thing on. But anyway, I've got the Time Prophets on. You see me looking over there, it's because my computer is right here. So Time Prophets on, Jamie's on. What's up, guys? North American, awesome. Awesome to see you guys on. But yeah, I just want to come on. I'm getting ready to do two live acoustic shows up this coming weekend. I just played one last night at a winery. I am playing probably, well, I've got 11 total gigs the month of September. Some have already played, two of them already played, but so 9 more to go. But 11 total gigs for the month of September. A month ago, last month, I only had like 5 or 6 gigs scheduled, and all of a sudden it just rained shows. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. I think in April of this past year, or this year, I think that was the most shows I ever had in one month. Had like 14 shows that month. But this month I've got 11 total, which means I'm pretty much playing every weekend, twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month. But I love it. Jack, yeah, I heard about Queen Elizabeth. Heart and prayers goes out to that family. It's all over the news now, so I know that presents some changes coming down the pipe. My wife's actually downstairs watching that broadcast right now. But yeah, so anyway, I've got 2 more shows coming up. I say that to say this, guys. I want to give you guys some more tips on playing live solo gigs, playing live solo shows. Even if you don't play live, even if you don't have any interest in that, this of course may spark some interest because once I take you through the process, I've got a big video I'm working on right now, a really big video I'm working on how to get started playing live acoustic solo shows. 2 reasons why I'm putting this out. And I should have it done in the next couple of weeks. I'm making this a really big production here. But 2 reasons is, for one, it's just great to get out and play in front of people, just to do that. And I know we like to play metal. This is primarily a metal guitar channel. I'm never going to stray from that, but it's a good idea to get out there and play and even start singing. If you can play guitar, you can sing. Trust me, I was not a singer, and I'm not a phenomenal vocalist by any means now, but if you can play guitar, if you can hear something in your head, or ears rather, and you can translate that, right, to guitar and play, you can do the same thing with your voice. Even if you don't think that you can, I'm going to bring that out in you. So that's one reason. And you start to develop a completely new talent on top of talents when you start playing and singing at the same time and doing that in front of people, okay? So reason number 2 is that, and a lot of you on here that are gigging can attest to this, is that it's actually a pretty good income source, guys. I made the leap from my corporate job in 2020, and I was mostly relying on just my music and my guitar courses. But sometimes that's up and down. So when I started playing live solo shows a couple of years ago, a little bit after I released my first guitar course, Metal Riff Master, once I started playing live solo shows, I only expected to play like one or two a month. I'm like, I've got to get out playing live again. It had been a couple years since I'd been on stage. I'm like, I just got to get out there somehow. Solo acoustic, playing these shows is one of the easiest and more profitable ways to get out there and make money at doing something that you love to do. Because one, it's just you. You're not having to split the payout with all the other band members and only walk away with, maybe $100 or something. You're getting all the money for the show. And it's just a lot easier to manage. You're not having, and I'm not against you guys being in a band. Being in a band is awesome. I want to start something here in Tampa soon. I do. I've already got something in mind for that. But, solo shows, it's just you. You only have to rely on yourself. You only have to market yourself. And again, you take home all the profits and tips, by the way. So I think it's just, there's nothing negative that can come from this. Okay, so I'm making a tutorial on just how to get started playing these live solo shows, taking you from the very beginning to building that up. First of all, building up your confidence to do it. I've got a method for you to go through. Take a few months to get to that level, right, if you're not used to it. But anyway, so let me get some comments here, guys. And we got people from all over the world. This is awesome. Time Prophet. So you said your strumming goes up the wall when you try to sing and play, trying the riff on Ticket to Ride. But yeah, it's just practice, man. It is really just practice. It is just. I've got some tips I'm going to be throwing out for that too, for your timing, for playing and singing at the same time. A lot of times, what I like to tell people is just play a chord, any chord, regular A. And just belt out, not belt, but just kind of, yeah, just one note with the chord. You go to E. We'll go to F sharp minor. Yeah. Then we'll go to a D. And you're not really singing anything but vowels, and that's part of the key to building up your vocals is practicing those vowels, accentuating those vowels, and that's, again, these are all things that we'll touch on later in other videos. But just start strum and just hum whatever you want with a vowel, preferably like a yeah or o or oo or something like that. And then just get used to that. And maybe start just by, maybe this will help you, Time Prophet, maybe just hit the chord one time. Yeah. Then hit another chord. Let it ring out. Something like that. That's just kind of a way to get started with it. Then as you start getting more involved in that, add a little bit more to it, right? Instead of letting it ring out, maybe strum twice, right? Or like a 1, 2, 3. Let it ring out, do your vocal part. Let that ring out, do your vocal part, and so forth. So that's one way. And Ocean Bleed, I will. I just saw your comment. No, I promise. I want to do that. I've got some little tricks, and I'm not a vocal coach, so I'm not going to dive down that territory. I will only show you some things that have helped me, perform. But you can do this. Trust me, guys, I had a big problem playing and singing at the same time. And my band members way back in the day, I had a band. I've been in several bands, none that were really notable, but I had formed a band with a good friend of mine, one of my best friends, called The Guys. And I had such a hard time. I was the lead guitar player and lead singer. Imagine that, the two biggest egos in the band in one, right? But I was lead guitar player and lead singer. And it was so hard. The timing was so difficult for me for some reason. And some of the strategies and things I practice now, I wish I'd known back then. Or rather, I wish I had taken a a more serious approach to it back then than what I do now. So my bandmates are like, dude, you're way off time. Like we can't perform this song. So I had a really tough time with that at first. But again, I've been playing live music though my entire life to some extent, and I've been also I've been playing these live solo gigs like 2, 3, sometimes 4 shows a month or a week rather for the past couple of years, So that's part of that. But one thing I can tell you is the more that you sing and play, the better you get. Just like by default, it's really just putting in that time. Uh, if you're playing and singing and it's just something you do here and there, it's going to be really hard to get to that level that you want to be. You really have to do it every day, even with vocals. And I'll talk about this. Ocean Blade, you asked about that. Me doing a video on that. I'll include this as well. Are some daily things that I do vocally almost every single day. I do some sort of vocal warm up and exercise. I have a couple resources for that. So more of that is definitely coming down the pipe, guys, for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna be changing strings here pretty soon. So what does Jason use? And I am not sponsored by them, but hey, if they wanted to sponsor me, I would take them up in a heartbeat. But Elixirs, these are I think they're the lights, the 12 through 53. And some people prefer heavier strings on acoustic. I'm not a fan of heavy strings to begin with. I think that's part of the problem I had with a 7-string guitar. I haven't touched my 7-string guitar in like months, maybe over a month, maybe 2 months. I don't know. I picked it up and played it, and it had been like months before. So I just don't like that heavy string. I just don't like how those feel. So I play with the lights. This brand, again, I am not sponsored by Elixirs, but if they said, hey, dude, we want to sponsor you, I'd like, okay, let's do it. But I love these strings. Playing out as much as I do, I change my strings about once every 3 to 4 weeks. Uh, you probably can't see this. No, you're not going to be able to see it in the camera. You can't even really tell. Maybe you can in some spots. A lot of times, I know it sounds gross, it's because I sweat, but I know I wear a wristband. I've got a wristband that I wear right here on my right hand, so that the sweat doesn't get all over the guitar. That helps tremendously. But these strings last about 3 or 4 weeks. If I didn't play live, before when I wasn't playing live near as much, I'd keep those strings on for like 4 or 5 months. But now I change them about every 3 weeks because even though they're Elixirs, again, I'm playing some of the gigs are outdoors too. So that's that's even more kind of like banging on these strings here in the outdoors in the Florida humidity. It's kind of rough on them. But if I were using regular strings, I would probably be changing the strings like probably every second or third show. So these strings are good. Anyway, let me catch up on some comments, guys. Time Prophet, lucky I didn't play bass or I'd have to carry the drum. Yeah, I miss playing in a full band though. I really do. It's been a while. Most of you guys know I played in churches throughout my entire life, so I've always played with a full band to some capacity. Up until about 8 years ago, I stopped doing that, and of course I was in bands before that. But I miss playing with a full band. It's a different. It is a much different world playing in a full band, relying on other people to show up on time and that sort of thing, Time Prophet, or sorry, Gospel Mark. So you've got acoustic 9-gauge. Yeah, I didn't want to go 9s, man, because strumming up there, those, and plus with the humidity in Florida, again, I'm playing out as much as I do, that would take a toll. Time Prophet likes the Diodarios, the 13s, yeah, and Ernie Balls. Yeah, I mean, you really just have to, I guess you have to be convinced that string is for you. I've been using Elixirs for so long. I've switched a few times and I'm like, nope. I've tried other brands and I would rip them off in like 2 days and go back to my Elixirs. That might be just because I'm used to the coating. Ocean Bleed, have I ever considered getting into the Shredders of Metal contest on Bangers TV? No, I haven't, dude. I did an Ibanez contest. I think it was back in 2017. I mean, I shred, but honestly, man, I don't really consider myself so much a shredder. Um, I just don't, because like a lot of these guys are just doing sweep arpeggios up and down the neck. I can't do that. I mean, I can play sweep arpeggios, but I don't sit there and just relentlessly practice sweep arpeggios. It's just not really part of. Really, I don't want to do all that. You know what I mean? So if I entered a contest like that, man, a shredders contest, I'd get blown away by probably half the people in it. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I'll shred some, but I'm going to go into something a little bit more melodic as well. So I would probably get crushed in a contest like that. I'm not a big contest person either, so it's just kind of that's just that's why I didn't play sports when I was growing up. I just never. I love that people compete. I love it. I followed bodybuilding for years. Never really wanted to compete in that either. But I love the fact that there are people that are competitive like that. I'm just not one of those people. So no, I probably won't enter any type of contest like that. Um, Jack, what I think of the new Jackson soloists? I've only played a soloist probably once or twice, and it was a long time ago. Man, that was eons ago. I had a Jackson Performer at one time. That was my go-to guitar for the longest time. So that was really cool. I missed that guitar. Hard Times had to pawn that along with a bunch of other gear way back. We won't go down that road again, man. Time Prophet would like the ability to shred, but prefer a melodic lead. I mean, one thing I'll say is don't not do, and I'm not talking to you on this, Time Prophet, just in general. I'm more talking to myself. Don't not do something because it seems too difficult or it seems like you'll have to put too much time into it. In other words, don't be one of those guitar players, and I'm guilty of this too, that says, well, I'm just going to play slow leads because I don't like the fast stuff. When really the answer is, I can't play the fast stuff, and I don't want to put the time to get good at that, right? So I'm real careful with that mentality because I know I've kind of said some things, not really against playing fast, but it does just get boring after a while. It gets very boring after it's like, okay, we see you play fast, but what else can you do? My friends and bandmates used to get on me all the time. It's like, okay, you shredded another solo, great, but can you play something with a melody? So it made me start rethinking my approach to guitar. But anyway, just kind of my 2 cents on that. Ocean Bleed figured it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would lead to more exposure. Ocean Bleed. I was hoping the Ibanez contest I did years ago would lead to that. I never really got much out of it. I even have a blog post on it. I always repurpose content, repurpose everything, and try to like multi-capitalize on things. So if you do a video, I might follow up with a blog post. I'll post it everywhere. But I didn't really see any. I didn't really see any results come from that. So I'm like, eh. And it just, again, I'm not a contest type guy. You know what I mean? Even if I won every contest, I know I wouldn't, but even if I did, it's just not something that I really want to be involved in too much. Who knows? I may have a contest on my channel one day. I'll have you guys compete. That way I don't have to. Gospel of Mark. Love the 80s with the side of 70s. Yeah. So Mark's asked me if I've ever encountered gigs where they want you to play newer stuff. My acoustic duo does 80s, 90s, and we get asked to do country. I love it, dude. I'll tell you this, and I'm going to do a video on this as well. When I started playing acoustic shows, I was sort of against it. I told my wife, like, I want to get back out on the stage, maybe start a band or something. We were going to see my friend's band play, the Southern Creek Band. Brian, what's up, Faceless? Faceless knows Brian. You've seen Brian on the channel. But I would see Brian's band play, and I'm like, I have got to get back on stage. And my wife presented the idea, well, babe, why don't you just do solo gigs? Why don't you just do solo acoustic stuff, because we see some people doing that. I'm like, well, I don't want to play cover songs. I want to play my music. And which I do integrate. I've written several acoustic songs. Hopefully I'll share that soon with you guys too. But I told myself, though, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm only going to play and learn songs I like to play. That's it. I'm not doing anything else. And there's not, so, and I stick to that. I'm not saying you should do that. Most of my buddies that play out, they're all over the place. They play country, they play rock, they play rockabilly, they play southern rock, classic rock, they play newer stuff, whatever, right? They're all over the map. They play grunge and 90s and 2000s. Me, again, my tag is 80s with a side of 70s. And I've kind of stuck with that. I didn't think it would work. I'm like, okay, well, I'll probably play out once or twice a month at this rate, you know what I mean? But I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, but it has snowballed. I have had people come up to me saying, thank you for not playing certain songs. I had one person say, thank you for not playing Jimmy Buffett. Everybody plays Jimmy Buffett. You played stuff completely different. So my goal, and again, I'm not saying that this is something you should do, but my goal is to only play stuff that I like. I will not play Sweet Caroline. I will not play Brown Eyed Girl. I refuse to play those songs. I don't like them, and everybody else does them. I've had those requested a couple of times, and I simply said, look, everybody you go here is going to do that song. I've got something better for you. Let's see if you like this. And that's how I approach that sort of thing. And I just made a point. I'm like, I'm just going to do the stuff I like. Now, to answer your question, Mark, I do play a country song here and there. I play a couple Eddie Rabbit songs that my wife turned me on to. So, I do that. But yeah, I just made a point to myself, and because I don't venture outside of that territory, I really stay in my lane. Because I don't venture out into those other territories, I don't get requests. Every now and then, maybe, but not that often at all. So Faceless wants the challenge. Okay, so I can do the challenge on my channel, and that way I don't have to be in the contest. I like that idea. Oh man. Time Prophet says, find double tracking rhythm guitar on recording because never can't get anything lined up. Yeah, I've got some videos on that, Time Prophet. I've got some stuff on there. Jack, do I deal with hecklers in a live show? Any funny stories? I really haven't had any hecklers. I had one guy walk into a bar, and this bar actually closed down a while back, unfortunately, an Irish pub that I played at quite often. It was called The Forge. Then they changed the name to The Crown Irish Pub. Actually, they're on bar rescue. And unfortunately, that just nothing worked. There's a lot of reasons. I've got, actually, if you look in on my channel, there's a video called I'll Never Play Here Again, or The Last Time I Play Here, something to that effect. It's on back a couple of months ago. I tell the story behind that and share my last performance there. Really cool place. But one guy came in, I can't remember what he said. He was just super drunk and being super loud. And he said something, asked me to play something. I'm like, I don't know that, but I know some Vixen. I was kind of kidding around. It was like, oh, that's not relevant. I don't remember what he said, but he ended up walking out. So good riddance. But I've never really had any hecklers. Now, to that point, though, I play at a lot of breweries and wineries and those types of places. I don't really play in bars. I live in Tampa, Florida, the area. We have so many breweries around here and a couple of wineries. So I'm kind of picky about where I play, which, again, I know where my style, my genres are going to work and where they're probably not going to work. I've got a dockside bar I'm playing at this weekend for the first time called Finn's Dockside in Apollo Beach. So I'm always a little nervous about the first time going somewhere, but I usually stick to the more, I don't want to say higher end places, but most of them are more higher end places. The beer is more expensive because it's craft beer. You don't have people in there. Yeah, I don't play at places where they have dollar beer specials and stuff like that, because then you get a different type of crowd, and they probably want country and southern rock. Nothing wrong with that. That's great. I'm glad there's folks out there that can provide that. I've got a lot of friends that do that. But I know what I play probably wouldn't work as well in those places. So again, I stay in my lane, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, again, I just stick to very specific genre. Join Erickson. What's up, guys? Yeah, Nami, I don't play Wagon Wheel. That's another song I won't play. I had a kid ask me to play that. I'm like, I don't know that one, buddy, but my thing is like, I don't know that song, but I've got something you might like that kind of sounds like it. And just because I say it kind of sounds like it may not be anything like it, but it works. It's kind of a quick way. I remember somebody was like, some girl, she came up with a tip, she's like, can you play Sweet Caroline? And I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't know that song. She started to pull her, probably $1 bill. She started to pull it back. She's like, you don't know that song? I'm like, sorry, but I've got something you might like even better. And that's how I handle that. But I will not play Sweet Caroline, will not play Brown Eyed Girl, will not, there's a lot of songs I won't do. because I just don't like them, you know. And once you go down a rabbit hole, you kind of get stuck there. Anyway, the faceless. Yeah, we need to come up with some kind of challenge. Some kind of challenge. I'll come up with something, man. Gospel Mark says he had a lady request Clutch song. Didn't know it, so we wrote Clutch on a rock with a Sharpie and held it to your face. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there's a guy named Davi Das. He's YouTube famous now. He lives about 2 hours from me. He lives in Sarasota, or about an hour. Um, and he'll just like listen to the song on the phone and like, okay, yeah, I'll play it. People are, hey, can you play this? Well, let me listen to it. And then he won't play the exact song, of course, but something he kind of, pulls it off. You know but anyway, so I like to stay in my genre. I don't care anything about learning the new songs or hip hop or anything like that. It's just not my thing. Then if I had to do that, it would just become a job, and I would probably quit doing it. So because my last job I had was a job, and I quit it because it was a job. Anyway, so time prophet solve vixen Eric. So my practice routine. That's a good question. I mentioned this earlier. So vocally, I practice every single day. I will practice vocals for at least 30 minutes a day, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but I make sure to do some kind of warm ups every single day to keep my vocals warm, just to keep because the voice is very temperamental. And I practice, and I'll strum and play songs. I strum and play songs, singing that, practicing that part of it, probably 3 to 4 times a week. I mean, now I'm playing out 2 or 3 times a week, so that's of course practice. But like this week, I'm throwing in a couple of new songs, and I didn't have a big crowd last night's show, so I had a couple new songs that I just learned. What was it? A Survivor song. Um, I do you feel me tremble when I touch or something like that. I can't remember how it goes now, but maybe I'll play it soon because I'll remember it then. But anyway, that one and an Eddie Money song and another song. So I'm like, okay. And I murdered the songs, man. I'm like, I'm glad there's nobody here because I told my wife, like, nobody's here. Let me play these songs real quick. I haven't played them on stage yet. And of course, I'm like, okay, I need to go back and practice before I play this in front of anyone. Oh, man. So, yeah. Faceless. A question. Faceless has a question everybody wants to know. Dude, I've been completely bald for a long time. Or if you're talking about my facial hair, I just trimmed it. I don't like when my face gets too. But I've always been bald. Um, I've always shaved. Now maybe I come on here a few times and had little stubbles because I shave every other day. I don't like to shave every day. Coffee. I'm getting asked about coffee brands. So my Keep It Metal mug. By the way, if you go to jasonstallworth.com, click on the shop button, you can get a Keep It Metal mug just like that. Um, Dude, I'm not ultra picky with my coffee, and I can't I drink a lot of Cafe Bustelo, and I just we've got little K cups you can fill up yourself and put in the Keurig. But my wife and we've been drinking Don Pablo, and we've got a bean grinder, and we make French press coffee on the weekends. A little bit more involved in that, so that's the way to go, man. I love the French press. It's really awesome, really good coffee there. But we've been drinking Don Pablo, and there's another brand called Manatee something. I can't quite remember the name of it. Jamie saw Anvil last week. That'd be a really cool show. Man, 94 people there. But I'm so glad to hear bands like that, are playing out still. Um, Julia says, feeling old now. Haven't seen Anvil since March. Oh man, 1999. Yeah, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, Cafe Bustelo is good stuff. Really good stuff. Um, but yeah, as far going back to practicing though, um, I try to practice on a daily basis. And what I do too, and again, guys, I want to reiterate what I said earlier for folks that came on afterwards. I am working on a really major video, a major tutorial on how to get started playing live, how to get started playing specifically live solo gigs. But you can apply the concepts that I'm going to share in this upcoming video. You'll be able to apply the concepts to anything, to playing in a band, to whatever. But I really encourage folks to get out there and play live. the beginning, the first few steps that I give you in this video, and I'm hoping to have it ready in a couple of weeks. I'm working really hard getting this, getting the film. I'm filming this in multiple locations, by the way, because I'm giving you examples from different places. But I do want to, I do want to encourage this, because once I give you the first steps, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, this sounds easy enough. Let me take that step. That step's gonna lead to one more, and then, and before you know it, it's like, you know what? I'm ready to go play on stage somewhere. I'm gonna do this, and it becomes very addicting. It's just like, it's like coffee, because I'm addicted to coffee, so it's very addicting. Celtic. So how old was I when I started playing live? I've been playing live music since I was 15. About the time I started playing guitar. I started playing in church right away. The beauty of being young is, like, you don't care about anything, man. You'll just get up there and do it. I grew up in a Pentecostal holiness church, right? So me and my friend get up there like, hey, you guys are new at playing guitar, play a Jesus song for us. So we did, but we both clicked our distortion pedals on, man, and just started jamming. And of course, one of the ladies came up after. She's like, that was good, but next time, put your guitars on regular. I think we had the metal zone hooked up. But I've been doing, I played with the church. I played with multiple churches after that wanted a rock guitar player after that. And I played in a couple bands. So I've been playing live all of my life. So anyways, as far as acoustic gigs, though, these are live acoustic shows. Now, I did this a little bit way back, but consistently, I started doing this again about 2 years ago. So about 2 years. And again, I really only had planned on playing out like once or twice a month, and it just snowballed. Like I said before, I've got 11 shows in September booked. So, it's quite a bit. Time Prophet, have I got your acoustic plugged in for this live stream? No, I'm not going through any program, guys. I am, what you hear right now is just out in the open. And I'm using a Rode NTS video mic, the video mic NTS, on top of my iPhone, and I've got a tripod set up. I wish you guys could see it, But yeah, that's actually, you know what? No, I can't move this thing. No, I've just got I use very minimal gear, and I've got some professional lighting in the studio here too that I have, so it looks a little bit better with my skin and all. But no, I've never even used any live stream software. I'd like to get into that at some point, because there's some live streams I'd like to take you guys through the studio and certain things, and it would be much better to do that if I had, the software. So that's something I'm working on. Steve Robinson just picked up the Ibanez RG550. Yeah, man, Ibanez. I love them. I love Ibanez guitars. Really cool. Play the GSUS songs, baby. Yep. The Jesus songs. I said GSUS as if I didn't get that at first. That's funny. Yeah, we did that, man. I did a lot of that in my life. Jack, maybe it's personal, but you mentioned that 2008 you had some pretty hard times. No, I'll share this real quick, guys. So Jack, so I'm 47 years old. I think, yeah, my wife and I are both 47 years old at this time. Our birthdays are both in May, which is cool. My 20s, guys, my 20s were almost a complete waste. I literally went through 2 marriages and 2 divorces in my 20s. A lot of things happened, and a lot of things I won't get into, especially here. Maybe another story for another day, but because of the choices I made with bad marriages and with divorce comes financial problems, and then credit problems, and just the problems just compound. It's like reverse compound interest, which is it's like, everything's just going to crap. And I don't know, I met my wife, my current wife, in 2008. So things started really completely changed, to be honest with you guys, and that is when I started getting back into the studio, back into writing and recording music. Her and I moved in together in 2009. I started my YouTube channel and a fitness blog in 2010. Wrote and recorded an album in 2013. Released my first album and several thereafter. So I'm trying to get my 5th album out now. It's just I've had so much happen, good things happening lately. But yeah, so yeah, during that time, and I still played live music here and there. Played in a couple churches during the time, during both marriages and divorces. But yeah, just went through some trying times. A lot of stuff I put myself through, though, guys. I'll be honest with you. A lot of stuff that I really just put myself through. Um, if you have a dream, what I'll say to all that, guys, and this is how I live my life now. If you have a dream, if you have this ambition to do something with your life, you have to make decisions that support that dream, not take away from that dream, right? And this is why, and I'm not saying you should or shouldn't get married or at a young age or at all, whatever, to each their own. But let's say you're 20 years old, right? And your dream is to be a rock star, be a musician, or be a producer, or whatever the case is. Well, if you decide to get married to someone and have children or do this or do that or get into drugs or get into drinking and partying or anything, all of those things have the potential to eat away at the time that you need to put into your dream. And this is why I think for some people, again, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, I'm just saying this is from my perspective, lessons learned, that if you have that dream, make sure your decisions support that dream. Here's why, guys, this is important. Here's why. Because if you don't do that and your dream is here, but the decisions you're making are pulling you away from that, that will build resentment because you're always going to have that dream, but either one, you'll settle and that dream will never happen, or you're going to have resentment towards yourself, towards the people in your life. And so that's why I think it's so important. If you've got a vision for your life, go for that. You know what I'm saying? Go for that. And as you're getting to the point to where you're reaching that, okay, maybe add some of these other things. Maybe don't add the drugs part, okay? But or the partying too much, because I did all that stuff, man. Again, my entire 20s, were just kind of a waste up until I was about 33 years old when I met my wife. That's when things started to turn around, and life's been, it's been great. I mean, I can't, I have no complaints. So anyway, I just wanted to answer that question, Jack. I, put a little personal stuff out there. I don't mind doing that. Faceless, there are many guitars that are quality wise. Yeah, Ibanez, I will say Ibanez and quality just go hand in hand. Do I know Dream Warriors? I don't think that's Dream Warriors. I played the wrong Dawkins song, guys. Sorry. That was the wrong Dawkins song. Actually, I don't know how to play Dream Warriors. I'd have to. I'm trying to remember it. That was what was that? Kiss of Death, the famous Lynch song, man. I love Lynch's playing though. He's really, really, really cool. Really cool style. So, um, Bronco came in and had to go. So thanks for dropping by, man. Yeah, the only drug is coffee. Yeah, I mean, this is coffee. This could be a drug, man. I drink a lot of it. I think I just drink. I think sometimes I associate coffee with productivity, and it just, more than anything, I'm trying to keep my diet a little bit cleaner these days, especially during the week when I have to do a lot of work, which I'm doing today, because it keeps my mind kind of firing on what little cylinders are left up there in the whole brain. So anyway. Faceless, you're welcome, dude. Faceless, by the way, I'm trying this new timeout. I was looking at my YouTube analytics, and it tells you, and this is something I'm starting to get a bit more serious about, looking at the data and analytics and everything. I almost said analytics. That's not right. Anyway, so I was, looking at that, and it's like, okay, well, this time between like 2 and 4 would be the best time to stream. This is when most people are available. So So this might be a new thing. This and then Saturdays at noon, I think pretty much everyone's available at that point. So I wanted to try a different time. So Faceless, I did this actually Faceless. No lie, not blowing smoke, man. You were in my mind when I scheduled this. Because I know you live over there. So I say over there, I guess everywhere's overseas if it's not where you live, right? But you're in the European area, so which I hope to visit Europe someday. I've never been over there. Been to Thailand. That's my wife's home country, but anyway. So Let's see what we got here. See your videos, find it interesting. Been playing guitar 5 years. Awesome, awesome. Oh no, somebody scammed you in class. Uh, no, no, no B minor, no Noob Master. I'm sorry, I was trying to pronounce the name there, man. I actually have guitar courses out there. You might want. Let me grab the link for Noob Master real quick, guys, to Metal Guitar Apprentice. Uh, this course might help you. I know you said you tried a course or tried a teacher, but um, I think most people can attest to Metal Guitar Apprentice helping them, you know. So try this right here. I just posted the link to my beginner's metal guitar course. Uh, that's strictly, the metal style music there, but that might help you. So check that out. Let me know if you have questions about that. Celtic says the tangent reminded me of the conversation you had with your girlfriend last night about regrets. Regrets, yeah. Always remember that you make every decision in your life for a reason. In hindsight, it's 2020. Yeah, I like, and I here's the thing about regrets, guys. I really, and many people won't agree with me when I say this, but I think it's okay to have regrets. I don't think you should be aiming to make those regrets, but hear me out on this. I do have a lot of regrets in my life, meaning if I had to go back to that time, I would not make those same decisions again, right? Now, one may say, well, it led you to this point. Maybe I would have been led to this point in a better position had I not made some of those decisions. We don't know that, right? And like, I love everything about my life right now. I love my wife dearly. She is my world, and I love doing what I do. So I'm very thankful, very grateful for that. But it doesn't mean that if you said, Jason, I'm going to put you back to 20 years old, which is when I met my first wife, I'm going to put you back in time. I need you to make all these decisions again. And I'm absolutely not. So I think it's okay to have regrets because it just means that I won't make that same mistake again. I've never been a big fan of like, well, everything happens for a reason. The reason is because you made a bad decision. That's the only reason. It's not like some magical little gnome said, hey, make this bad decision. I'm forcing you to make this decision so you can end up here. No, I made poor decisions just because I made bad decisions. And those are my decisions to own. So I don't know. That's just a little bit of my own insight. And I'm not saying I'm right. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own way of looking at things, and I can appreciate that. But I don't allow myself to make excuses for poor behavior, right? I don't allow myself to make excuses for poor decision making. I can look back and I can say that was crap decisions, but I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to do it differently. Uh, and I was the king of beating myself up for years because of my mistakes, right? Some mistakes I'm still paying for, guys. I've got massive student loan debt, for example, for a degree that I've got a master's in business. I've got an MBA. It only got me a job that I really just wasn't what I wanted to do. I got the degree because that's what you're supposed to do. And I was in a position way back when, like, well, I nothing's going right, so maybe if I get my degree, finish my degrees, then that'll help my income boost. And I did it for that sole purpose, but I wasn't happy. Anyway, so just kind of going off on a little tangent there, but that's just kind of how I see life. I think it's okay to say, okay, I've got the regrets, but you don't want to live in the regrets. That's the key. That's the difference. You can say I have the regrets, bad decision making, okay, and that's the reason it happened. And when we say everything happened for a reason, well, yeah, it happened because I made a crap decision. But it means that you don't stay in that funk, right? Because if you allow yourself to stay there, then it's just not healthy. So that's my perspective. Um, a good friend of mine told me when I was just kind of coming out of all the junk that I was involved in. He's like, there's a reason why your windshield is so much greater, so much bigger than your rear view mirror. We can check back there, here and there, but we're really supposed to be focused on that on going forward, right? So, hey, good chat, guys. Good conversation, man. So, hey, I don't mind answering personal questions, guys. If you guys want to ask them, I don't mind digging into a little of that. So, uh, yeah. So, Nightmare on M Street. I love, you know, I think the guy that played Freddy Krueger posted something on Facebook the other day, and I'm like, man, those movies creeped me out when I was a kid. Again, I'm 47 years old, so that was like prime time, back then. So just, man, those movies, Freddy, hold up those four claws. And yeah, Dream Warriors was really cool tune. So yeah, yeah, I'd love to go to Birmingham, man. I need to get, I need to get over that, and to get over that area at some point. I don't know how the travel. Uh, I don't have a. I don't. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I don't know how the travel experience is. So casual asked me about a bunch of times. I don't know why you have to ask 4 times. Why do I look like a failed pro wrestler? Why do you look the way you look? Whatever that is. So answer that question and I'll answer your question. How about that? Let's start there. I'll probably have to ban this kid because he looks like he's up to no good, or one of the bots, one of the trolls or whatever. So anyway, if you're legitimate, man, we're talking about music. So you have questions in that regard, feel free to ask. On that note, I'm not a failed pro wrestler because that was never anything I was interested in. So there's your answer, I guess. Uh, that's what I love about my channel. That's what I love about you guys. I don't get a lot of garbage on here. Every now and then somebody will post something ridiculous, but that's, once in a blue moon. So anyway, guys, so I've got 2 live shows coming up, you know, um, tomorrow night, Friday night, and Saturday night. Hey, Kane Roberts was, dude, Kane Roberts. I'm glad you mentioned Kane Roberts. There's a song that he wrote, and there's a video. Does anybody really fall in love anymore? I don't know if you guys have heard that or still. You look it up on YouTube. Look up Kane Roberts. Does anybody really fall in love anymore? It's a power ballad, man. But that guy's got an amazing voice, dude. He's just got an amazing voice and just amazing guitar player, everything. Ocean Bleed, yeah, I'm definitely not a fighter, dude. Um, on the fighter note, it's funny. One of the bars I play at in South Tampa, it's one of those bars is called the Blind Goat, and there's a bartender there. His name's Brandon. He's a professional fighter, and dude is like he's a thinner guy because if you're fighting, you can't be big and bulky, but he is just ripped. And I thought about making a video doing a lesson with him. Metal guitarist gets his ass kicked. I thought that'd be a really funny title. But I thought about taking him up on a couple lessons just to. He does Muay Thai fighting, so it would make sense for me to do that. Lee, I don't really know that, man. I'll try in a second here. I don't really. I played that song a long time ago, but I don't know if I remember it. So. Provocation Theory. Grew up in Oldsmar, man. Yeah, Oldsmar is, man, kind of right down the street. That's about an hour away. Near Oldsmar, there's a little town called Dunedin, you probably remember. That's a really cool little beachy town over there. I've been there a few times. Yeah, Stodart, I don't know if I can crush any skulls anymore, man. Some of you know I had a pinched nerve back here about a year ago, and that really, that dropped my strength big time, so I had to be really careful these days. Uh, yeah. Yeah, the punch will be metal. So let's see. How's it go? Close enough for When the Children Cry. How do we do that? That's it. Okay, that was When the Children Cry, White Lion. Someone asked me to play that. I'm like, gotta see if I remember how to play that. I haven't played that in years, man. Oh, cool tune, man. Yeah, Oldsmar. Um, let's see, where else are we, guys? Oh, thank you, Dave. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the Dave, this is not close to you, David, but I'm playing at Fiorelli Winery next Saturday on the 17th. That's in Bradenton. That's probably still quite a hike for you. I think you're much further south. Um, but yeah, that's I'm playing out there, Fiorelli Winery in Bradenton, Saturday the 17th from 1 to 5. So I don't know how close that is to you. Uh, that's the furthest south I've played from where I'm at. It's about an hour drive for me. There's a long way to go for a gig, but it's a really cool place. Celtic, no, I've never competed, man. I don't. I don't know if you're on earlier. I'm not competitive in nature. Like I'm the kind of person. If somebody says I'm better than you, then I'll be like, okay, you're better. You shoo along, do your thing. I'm gonna continue doing my thing over here. I'm not competitive in nature at all. Um, the only thing I was competitive in was playing ping pong, and that was just talking smack with my buddy. So I really wasn't any good at it. It was just fun. But no, I've been into bodybuilding my entire life. When I had a pinched nerve last year that put me out of commission for a while, and I told I told my wife, I'm glad I didn't pursue bodybuilding as a career because that would have put me out of work. I'd have been done. But anyway, but I've never done any kind of competitive in that regard. I think a lot of guys my size will blow me out of the water in strength. We're asking, I can probably squat 400 pounds, a little over that. A lot of guys in that arena can blow way past that, right? So I've never competed. Um, I am trying to lean out some a little bit. I was carrying a little bit too much body fat, but I've never really wanted to compete. Yeah, the chill. Yeah, I might try that Ocean Blue. I might try that live. Let's see. Yeah, I like the finger picking. Red in my country. Well, dude, that wasn't a country song. That was White Lion, man. White Lion's not country. There's probably like three country songs total that I do. That's about it. David says gonna get down here, moving from Naples to Marco Island. Lots of places. I don't know. I had to look up where Marco Island is. I mean, that's right. You're in Naples. Yeah, I've never been to Marco Island. I had to look into that. I am going to travel down to Sarasota in about a week to see a YouTube friend of mine. His name is Andres, and he plays live shows too in the Sarasota area. And he plays a Latin style guitar, does some looping, and plays a really nice Latin style music, and just a phenomenal musician. And something about him, I'm like, man, I'm gonna come down and see you, and I'm gonna go down next Tuesday and see his show, and we might do a little YouTube collaboration. Who knows? I'll have to ask him about that. Atrocity, thanks, man. Thanks for the comment, dude. Uh, yeah, I don't know anymore but Angel, regular skeleton. To be like truthful with you guys, I don't really learn a lot of songs. I just don't. I don't really have any interest. So I don't like sit down and let me learn how to play this song. When I'm playing live acoustic shows, what I do is I'll listen to it and figure out the chord progression, and then I'll just figure out my own way to do it. But as far as like picking out individual riffs and stuff like that, I don't really do that. Chris, I don't play any on the East Coast, man. I stay here in the Tampa area. I kind of have to stay within travel distance. I try not to play more than 30, 45 minutes away because then it's not profitable anymore. I've got one place that I drive an hour to, and with the cost and the time and all that, it's still profitable for me to do that. But and I've been asked if I could come play at places like out of state. I could if the costs were covered and we're, you know what I mean, but that's kind of unrealistic to happen. So um, as I've been doing this for so long, I'm starting to actually write songs on acoustic because my goal, it's kind of like a little business trick here. Not, I shouldn't call it a trick. That's not, it's a strategy. Since I'm playing all these acoustic gigs, it makes sense for me to write some songs that I can play acoustic on my own that are mine and start throwing those in and maybe build that up. And if I can get to a point to where I can go as Jason Stallworth, I'm playing my music with maybe a cover or two, I'd like to flip the boat, right? Because right now I'm playing almost all covers. I'll trickle in an original here and there. But if I can, become well enough to where they want to hear some Star Wars music, and I'm playing this sort of thing where it's just me, that would be fun. I'd really like to do that. So, yeah. Yeah, I do remember Queensryche, Lee. I love Queensryche, man. They were like a really like a dark, a dark metal band back in those days, or maybe even dark classic heavy metal, hard rock, whatever, unlike no other. So yeah, it was great. Oh, David, so furthest tip of Florida. Wow, dude, that's cool. That's interesting, man. I definitely want to go visit there someday. You probably have to open a gym down there or something, man. Or maybe I'm sure they have good gyms down there too. Yeah. Vito Bratta is quite a guitar, so wish White Lion would get together again. Yeah, they had White Lion had some amazing stuff, man. I mean, they were just a really good band. Um, Queensryche and Judas Priest. Wow, that would be, yeah. Scorpions. Yeah, just funny you mentioned that Time Prophet. Scorpions wrote their songs uh, on acoustic. That's really interesting to know. I didn't know that. Uh, but my thinking is, and the next album I start working on, which is going to be very soon, it's going to be kind of a hard rock, maybe even some classic metal vibes in there. Because there's just there's some metal vibes to what I do, even playing acoustic, that I'll never get away from. But I want to be able to easily translate it over to acoustic, like my Masterpiece album. That was like borderline melodic death metal, and I love it, but I can't really translate any of those songs to the acoustic and play them. So it's like crap. I can't play any. So I'm starting to develop a new strategy though, to where when I write a song, even if it's a hard rock or heavy metal song, I can easily play an acoustic version of it. So, have you ever heard of a band Behind You? Never heard of Behind You. I'll play a tune. One of the songs I'm doing though. How do we play this?
Understand about indecision. I don't care if I get left behind. People living in competition. All I want is to have my peace of mind. Now you're climbing to the top of the company ladder. I hope it doesn't take too long. Can't you see there come a day when it won't matter? There come a day when you'll be gone.
So that's one of the tunes that I do. I love playing that song. That's by Boston. That one line. Now you're climbing up the top of the company ladder. Hope it doesn't take too long. So that takes me back to my corporate days, and it's like, yeah, I love this song. It's about leaving a job you don't like. So I always tell that little joke before I start playing. I'm like, and if anybody's recently quit their job that they don't like, this song's for you, or if you're wanting to do that. So that's one of the tunes I wrote. But the cool thing about that song though is I transpose it. I don't sing, my voice. I've got a decent range. I don't have like some extreme high range, like like Delp there on Boston. So I transpose that to an F sharp minor. It's just an F sharp minor, D, A, E. So I'll transpose it, like that. But you can play, you can play that in whatever key you want to. So I don't know what the actual song is, but I guess my point was I am, when I listen to a song, I don't really learn the song. I just like, okay, here are the chords. What fits my vocals better, right? So I'll transpose it to that. I say probably 90% of the songs that I do, or at least 85% that I do, are transposed to a different key. Chris says, were most of the guitarists of that era formally schooled or trained in music? Uh, a lot of it seems too intricate and complicated to make it up on the fly. I don't know. I think that some guitarists studied theory, others didn't. There's no. I think what happened, regardless of whether you study music theory or whether you don't, I think the key thing is they spent a lot of time on their craft. We were talking about that earlier. Someone asked me how much I practice for these types of shows. I've practiced my vocals and haven't warmed up today yet, so I shouldn't even try to sing not warmed up. But I warm up my vocals every day, sometimes in the morning, sometimes again, and I'll go through exercises. Brandon, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man. I'll go through exercises, vocal exercises, and I'll spend 20, 30 minutes a day on my voice alone. And I'm also recording. I can't talk about it, guys, and I'm sorry, but I'm recording lyrics and vocals for another band right now. Mainly the lyrics part. They'll have a singer go back and redo my lyrics, but anyway, so that's a lot of work right now too. So yeah, Time Prophet played lead in A minor. Yeah, so I don't think A minor would work on that, man, but it's an F sharp minor, so you've got, you know. But the F sharp, I love F sharp minor, and I play a lot in C sharp minor. But real quick, what I love about those keys on acoustic, what I love about them is that playing the F sharp minor, you don't have to play the bar chord, right? You can, but I leave the E string open. It's not really starting that chord. Sometimes I'll skip it, but I'll go starting with the A string, fourth fret, second fret, and the last two strings open. So you get this. Instead of this, you get this. More of that open sound. Same thing with the C sharp minor. I'll leave the last two strings open. So instead of this, you get this. Now if I want to go to, you know, the natural next chord up would be a B. So instead of the bar chords, sounds kind of dead, I play it with those last two strings open. And I can do the same thing with the A, leaving those last two strings open. See how full that sounds? Anyway, so that's just a little, I like to throw those tips out there when I think about them, you know. Gospel Mark's currently in a very, very hard job that you want to quit. Very high stress. Sounds like you're in the corporate world, Mark. Mark, you're already out there playing music. And I can't remember, I think you're with the band. You know, if you're not playing solo shows, I would encourage you to start getting those into. I've got a good friend of mine, Brian in the Southern, he plays a frontman for the Southern Creek Band, and they play local gigs around here, but he recently, I talked him into it. He didn't really want to do it at first. I'm like, you need to get out and play solo shows, because he kept not complaining, because he likes what he does with the band. It's fun, but he's like, we don't make much money, man, because we have to split it 5 ways, you know, the check-in, the tips, and everything. So it's like, you know, the band members, they'll play a 4-hour show, and each band member will make a lot less than I make playing a 3-hour show or even a 2-hour show. So it's like, I said, hey, get out there and start doing some live solo gigs. So he's doing that several times a month. So it's really, you know, people say you can't make a living at music. You can. There are multiple ways to do it. And I may cover some of this, man. If you guys are interested in that sort of thing, if I don't cover it on this channel, I'll cover it on the Metal Mastermind channel, because that's really our education platform that I co-own. But let's see, Propagation says, what did I miss here? Does anyone know about? Propagation says, what I meant was, have you played with a full band at any point? Yes, I've played in several full bands, mainly throughout my entire life. I've played with several church bands, worship teams throughout most of my life. I've also played in a couple bands in my early years. So I played in a few different bands. I say several, a few different bands. I haven't played with a band probably since 2012, a little bit into 2013. I was playing with a church group, and they wanted a rock style guitar player for, you know, which I'll say something about that music. It's, you know, whether you believe in that or not, it's not really relevant, but the music that we played, a lot of songs are in different keys. So that's just challenging. Like whereas you're playing your own music, you tend to write in the same key all the time, right? Or if you're playing your cover band for one specific band. But anyway, a couple years ago is when I started really getting back into playing the acoustic live shows. I started missing the stage, man. Really missed the stage. So, Gospel Mark, you're in a band, 2 bands, and an acoustic duo. So honestly, Mark, I would, and I don't want to give bad advice here, man, and I'm not saying you should change anything, but I would take, like what do you want your core focus to be? Because if you're in two bands and you're in an acoustic duo and you're not making close to a full-time living with that, I the only thing I would ask you to do is just to kind of take a step back and take a look at everything from a bird's eye view and what's working, what's not. Is this just fun projects that I want to continue doing, or am I getting kind of burnt out with music because we're really not making any money? Uh, because being having that many music projects, uh, I feel like you should, and I don't know what spot you're in, so I apologize if I'm digging too deep with you here. That's not my intent. But whenever I hear people like, man, I work a job I hate, but I'm playing in three different bands. Uh, Something has to change in the band part, and whether that's like, okay, I need to focus more on the acoustic duo because that's more profitable, and I can do one of the bands as a side piece to that. But let's get more acoustic gigs, right? Because I'm gonna guess that's probably more profitable, and then do that, and then also do the band thing as well, but get more gigs. The reason I say, excuse me, the reason I say the acoustic duo because those gigs are a little bit easier to get, a little bit easier to get because they're typically less money that the venue has to pay as opposed to paying a band. So you can, man, in the Tampa area where I live, and probably all over Florida, you can just get gigs if you're good at what you do. I believe that you are because you're playing out. You're playing out, and you're in multiple projects. So, anyway, I hope that makes sense, man. Just kind of nail down like, what's the most profitable one, or you can take the one you enjoy most, or the one you're tied to the most, but really make a point to hone in more on that, deeper on that, come up with some strategies to get out there more. If it's the band, you're gonna have to get some CDs and vinyl and merch and to go with that, that sort of thing. So it can be done, and I want to see you succeed in that. All right, so where are we at? I think I'm all caught up with comments, guys. This is one I wrote a while back. I won't play the whole thing.
Leading a quiet life of desperation, bound by solitude. Every step you take, one step closer, like a ghost and unnamed soul. There's a fire in your heart, a passion ready to explode. Where do you go when you're on the edge? When there's no way to turn around, your back's against the wall again, and it's too late to turn back now.
So that's one, and sorry, my voice is not up to par right now, man. I did not warm up today, and I forgot my glass of water. I've been drinking coffee instead, but um, that's a recent song I wrote. I think I've got a full version on that on YouTube somewhere. Uh, but anyway, that's an interesting song because there's a lot of key changes in it. We start out in the key of B minor, play this weird C sharp over something or another chord here, C sharp over A. Then we go to the F sharp minor, then D, okay? Then to a G after that. So then we switch to another key, the key of D minor. We go from B minor to D minor, and we start that out with a B flat. Now we go to a G sharp, I'm sorry, a G minor. Then to an A major. All right, so a lot of key changes in that, and then we go to the E major, but then a C and a D. The C and the D, normally fits like with the E minor. Like if I played this, kind of ballady, kind of metal sounding almost, but we play an E major instead. Total different feel to it. And I wanted to point that out to you guys. Just when you're songwriting, like kind of stretch yourself a little bit when you're coming up with stuff. Stretch yourself to come up with something a little different. Because a lot of times we have a tendency to just continue playing the same stuff, right? The same chord progression, always the same key. Try playing in a different key. Again, we started that in B minor, right? Then we went to a D minor that has a B flat. So it's different things you can do. Brother Faceless, a while ago I mentioned changing music rooms. No, I actually decided against that, Faceless. The way our house is set up, we have a loft, another loft area upstairs, and that's where the guest bed is. The problem is upstairs, and I don't have a big house. It's 1,700 square feet, so it's by no means huge. But the loft doesn't have a wall. It's open to the downstairs. So I'd have to put a wall up for that to be an actual studio. And then that would make the house kind of like closed off. If you're downstairs, you'd look up and see a wall there. So we just decided against that. I'm looking to make some small changes in my own studio here. Actually looking for a new desk, looking for some stuff for the walls and that sort of thing. So I'm going to be revamping this room here. This is a 10 by 11 room. The thing is, I don't plan to do any like hardcore mixing. Like I'm just going to record my guitars and vocals here, my bass and all. Anytime I have drums done, I have the drummer do that. Cameron Fleury's in Canada. I hired him from a last project. I plan to do some work with Ed Aborn, the drummer for Siren, which they're coming out with a new album. I was in Morris Sound Studio. You guys may have saw the pictures on social media a couple weeks ago. And I actually got to interview Jim Morris. Those of you not familiar with Jim Morris Sound Studio, they were responsible for producing a lot of the death metal records back in the 80s. Tampa used to be the death metal capital for a while. They produced some bands like Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, Death, the symphonic metal band Camelot, several others. The list goes on. Nasty Savage, Sabotage. So I got to step in that studio and hear him mixing the Siren album. So I was real excited. I've got something, kind of off track here, but I've got an interview with all those band members and Jim Morris coming out probably in a few months. I'm going to wait till their album drops in October, and then I'll release the video so I can promote that for them. Yeah, you're right. So they're DSI as well, I believe they produce them too. So a lot of cool stuff, man. But yeah, so all that said, though, what the point I was getting at is I'm going to be outsourcing the stuff that I can't do so well in here. I've learned a valuable lesson, guys, in my old age. One of those lessons is I choose to stay in my lane. And my lane is writing and performing and doing the initial recordings and maybe even the initial mix, right? But I want my albums, well, not want, my albums going forward will be mixed and mastered by a professional, by a studio, someone that does it on a regular basis. And I thought of Jim Morrison mixing and mastering this next album I have coming out, and I'm affiliated with I say affiliated, I know the folks that own All Access Recording over the bridge in Clearwater as well. So I don't really need my room set up to mix per se. It is set up to record in now. I can record vocals in here. I've got the equipment and all that to mic amps and record vocals, and I can get really good recordings in here. But the end result, the post-production, I want to hand that off to somebody that does that. And, I got to thinking about it. I'm like, as much as I love messing around in my home studio and getting those initial tracks in, I'm not the best at mixing. Now, I could get better at mixing and I could learn to master and all that, but then learning those skills, and if you want to be really good at it, you need to do it all the time, right? I don't have interest in mixing other people's music. That doesn't really interest me. I would have to do that if I wanted to do it all the time. I can only write so much music, right, for myself. So I would have to be mixing other people's records all the time, and I don't really. That's not my goal, you know. So I don't want to try to become the master of those trades. I wanted to be the master of this, you know, again, staying in my lane. I want to be the master of what I'm doing as far as writing and performing and that sort of thing. So just kind of a little note I want to share. One of my old colleagues at my corporate job, I'd asked him a question about some ideas I had. He's like, "Look, man, if you chase two rabbits, you won't catch any." So I've become a big fan. For me, is just staying in my lane, being really like streamlined, focused on one particular thing at a time, and that's kind of helped me over the past couple years. Jack, also, what Jason Starworth ESP signature guitar look like? Jack, is you're gonna be disappointed in me. I honestly, I don't know a whole lot about all the little details. Me, it's like I pick up a guitar and I like the way it plays and sounds, or I don't like it, and that's about as far as I go. you know. Time Prophet, T's ready. Hey, thanks for joining, man. I'm probably gonna get off here soon, guys. It's man, we've been on here for like an hour and a half already, but if you guys have more questions, keep them coming. I'll hang out and answer. I don't have any agenda tonight. I was kind of having some brain fog, and I was supposed to be working on something, and I just couldn't. I mowed the lawn this morning. I noticed the days I mow the grass, and it only takes me like 45 minutes. Well, I cleaned the pool too, so I did all the man work this morning, right? Those days, once a week when I do that, it's like the rest of my day is kind of shot, you know, because I'm kind of tired. So um, I've had kind of brain fog. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go live. That'll get me moving because I enjoy hanging out with you guys. So anyway, but yeah, I don't know what the ESP signature guitar would look like at all, man. I mean, there are things I love about my ESP, and there are things that I love about my Ibanez, and there are two completely different guitars, different pickups, passive versus active, different fingerboards, different necks. So it's really hard to say. It's, you know, instead of describing the specs to anyone that want to make a guitar for me, I would probably just say, hey, here's what I like about this guitar, how it sounds and plays, and here's what I like about this one. Can you kind of combine the two together somehow? Like if I could combine that ESP, that LTD guitar on the wall, and the Ibanez, that would probably be my perfect guitar. So the neck would be thin, but maybe not quite as thin. The fingerboard would be a little wider, but not as wide as the Ibanez, but not as thin as the LTD, right? So it's kind of like, that's how I would describe it. You know, in Schroeder, Mike Schroeder made me that green guitar on the wall back there. You know, he made that for me, but I think he kind of made that based on his specs, because I told him what I wanted, but I think he already has his machine, you know, everything set up. So, and I hate it. I haven't really been playing that guitar a lot because there's just some things I like about the Ibanez. The Ibanez wins all day in my studio here. So I do, yeah, Ocean Bleed, I do. I like my Ibanez the best. So I told my good friend that I got the guitar from a couple days ago. I'm like, you know, if someone came in my studio and was like, look, you can only play one guitar, and that's it. This is the only guitar you can have for the rest of your life. And I'm like, hands down, it would be my Ibanez. I've come to like the passive pickups a lot better as well. I don't know why. It's just, you know, you kind of evolve as musicians. It doesn't mean you go from liking active to passive, but you change, right? Things change as you grow. Stoder says that's the only way to be in any single endeavor. Yeah, that's the one reason your videos are great. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, and I really try. I don't even mean to throw in the life concept. Sometimes it just kind of naturally comes out. Sometimes I think that might hurt my channel, but it doesn't seem to hurt it. So well, I would keep doing it anyway because I think that there are people that get a lot out of that, and it looks like that you guys get a lot out of that. So definitely want to keep doing it. But yeah, I love my Ibanez guitar though. That thing is just I don't know, it's gold to me. So. Guys, any other questions? I see about half the people have dropped off, so I don't know if I don't know, it's getting to that time to where other things may be going on. Yeah, Jack, you're welcome, man. You're moving home in a few weeks, and it's stressing you out. So now moving home, I guess, are you moving in with your folks, or just going back from? I don't know what moving home exactly means, but hopefully that goes smooth for you. Guys, I'll give a few, like another minute here. If you guys have any more questions, hey, please throw them out there. I'm happy to answer anything. Uh, oh, moving flats. Okay. Yeah. Hey, moves are a good thing. The good thing about moving is you find all the stuff that you accumulated, and you're like, how did I get this stuff? And you get rid of a bunch of stuff that you don't need. I'm trying to treat our house like that now, you know, because I just we have so much stuff. It's like, oh, we don't need all this stuff, you know. Ocean Bleed. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, the lead lesson I put out there. Uh, by the way, guys, I don't know go to my last video if you haven't checked it out yet. One thing I'm trying to do more of is, since I finally hit the 50,000 sub mark, which I'm grateful for. Thank you guys for that. But it's got me taking YouTube a lot more serious because I really enjoy it. I really enjoy what I do. Uh, but it's got me taking a lot more serious, and I'm looking at the data a lot more, my analytics, and just trying to see, okay, well, if sometimes you can have a great video, but it might not get a lot of views because the thumbnail wasn't attractive enough, or wasn't eye popping, or the title wasn't as enticing, and there's so many videos out there. So when you're scrolling through, I need to make sure that mine pops out in your feed. So I'm trying to get better at the thumbnails, not making any deceiving thumbnails. I'm going to deliver on the promise of the thumbnail and the title, but making it so where it's a little bit more like, okay, I've got to watch this, right? So I'm learning a lot more about that. But do check out my recent video that I just put out there. And that's on kind of a solo that's Satriani and Kirk Hammett inspired. And you might notice that I changed the title and thumbnail on that video as well, because when I first released it, it wasn't doing that great. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a video a lot of people have been asking for. How can it not do well? So I put it out there, and I ended up changing it, and now it's starting to do a little bit better. So yeah, yeah. If you put Pantera, yeah. The thing is, like, I don't really know. Um, I never really got heavy into Pantera. I like, what they represent to the metal community, but for some reason, maybe it was a guitar tone or something. I just never got really into it. And I'm real careful about using certain titles like band names and stuff like that, because what I don't want to get into teaching people how to play a song, because I'm not going to learn it myself. I like showing you guys things that I write. I write everything in the YouTube videos. That's all stuff I write for the videos, because I really don't care too much about showing somebody, well, this is how to play Blackened, or this is how to play that song. That's already somebody else's song. If I share concepts with you and show you, okay, this is how to play this riff or this lead part that I wrote, but this is even more important. This is how to expand on that and make it your own. I think that's a lot better. Um, yeah, Faceless. I've got a few shorts out there. The problem, I mean, and I have no issue with the shorts. I'll probably make some more of them. Um, because they are going to lead to greater things. They put it out there to compete with TikTok and Instagram and all that. YouTube figure, hey, we're gonna try to take the market on this too. I don't mind doing shorts. I'm trying to work out a strategy, and that the shorts might be my motivational videos that I give from time to time. Put something out there like that, because what I find myself doing is on my way to the gym, I'll pull up some shorts and just let them play, right? And a lot of times it's more of just like content, like someone talking about something, whatever it may be, as opposed to here's how to play a riff or lick or whatever. So, because I think I did a couple shorts on how to play riffs licks, but it's just weird because the camera is like, I can't fit my guitar in there. This is weird. So I think those will be more like just some of the I don't know, the life hacks, the motivational chats that I like to give you guys from time to time. So let me know what you want for shorts. Right? That's the best question I can ask there. If you're watching shorts, because shorts, they're just tiny videos and you scroll from one to the next. What's something that you would want to see from my channel as far as shorts, YouTube Shorts goes. And I was so again. I'm like, oh, I wish they wouldn't do this. You know. Now, Faceless, you don't like blondes, man. You like redheads, dude. I know this. Come on. Well, if you like blondes, I guess I could put Gunner on there. Put him in a bikini. That would work. He might even go topless. Oh, Jack said Gunner needs a new. Somebody said Gunner needs a new channel. I do need to make a video for Gunner. I need to bring him back in soon. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, little, that's what I'm thinking, Jack. You know, just some short, no pun intended, but short tips. You know, just some things to help folks move along. Um, and it could be, it could be about any of that stuff. So that's something I'm going to look into doing more of. I'm looking to sit down, and I might do this tonight, is just really write out a clear strategy for YouTube. It's something I need to do. I kind of just like, okay, I've got this cool video idea. Now I'm putting a lot more time into my YouTube videos. The video that I made for about the 80s licks, that took me about 10 hours to make. And the first 3 hours were spent on the thumbnail and the title of the video. And that video did quite well in its first 48 hours and still doing really well. So you really do have to approach this like a business, you know. So Stoddard currently playing by ear and learning guitar that way. Your video. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so you saw that. Once you feel sufficient, you'll be getting both courses. Yeah. Get to a point where you feel comfortable, Stoddard, before you get the course. And honestly, I mean, as you build a comfort level, you might not need the beginner's course. You might just jump right into Metal Riff Master. Who knows? But the beginner's course is a good way to start out with as well. Faceless shorts are an easy way to lure the unaware to your channel. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, shorts are really used to get more subscribers right now. They're not tying the revenue in with that, which is fine by me. But what YouTube is looking at, and I'm following a guy named Daryl Eves, and he is like the YouTube god and guru. And I just bought his book called The YouTube Formula, and he has helped so many channels like just blast off. So I'm taking a lot of advice from him and maybe one or two others. And at some point soon, YouTube is going to help tie in the shorts to lead to the long form content, because YouTube is never getting away from long form content, and that's kind of my beef with like Facebook. And I always say Facebook and Instagram, that's for people that are bored. Scroll. I don't know what else to do but scroll. YouTube, we come to YouTube to learn things, or maybe to be entertained as well, but really to learn something. A lot of times people go to YouTube to type, yeah, I need to figure out how to do this, or I want to play better metal riffs or guitar or whatever, and that's how we build these channels up. So YouTube is really more for folks that want to learn stuff, and I feel like YouTube's far more engaging. I know I sound biased. I am. I love YouTube. If you told me that I could only have one platform, it's like one guitar, right? And I would say, okay, YouTube, you can kill the rest of the platforms. I don't care about Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, or any of those. I'm on there, right? Because I feel like I have to be relevant, but YouTube is always going to be where my space is. I didn't mean that as a pun, like, MySpace. I met my wife on MySpace back before we actually met in person, It's crazy, man. Oh, David says, besides keeping the AC on, any advice for solo humidity care for guitar? Yeah, that's a good question, David, because you're going to be probably in a more humid environment, and probably already are, than I am. And one thing, acoustics love humidity. It doesn't. This thing, man, it can be humid as crap, and it stays in tune. Now, when it starts getting cooler, I'll notice when I pull it out of the case, it'll be out of tune. But I mean, I guess a dehumidifier in a room might help with that, man. But I don't. I keep my guitars on the wall now. I used to keep them all in cases all the time, but I just keep them out, and they never really go out of tune, man. Now I use Elixirs. I was highlighting the string. I am not sponsored by Elixirs, but hey, Elixirs, if you guys are watching, I'm up for sponsorship because I would totally just promote the crap out of your strings. I do it anyway. Using the Elixirs for my electrics and acoustics, that I really don't have a whole lot of problems with tuning, So. Brian says, good day. Good to have you on here. Small room studios, cool. Yeah, MySpace, man, way back. Jack, YouTube is great considering making more videos in the future. Yeah, Jack. I mean, I encourage everybody to do it, and just so you guys know, like some of you guys have guitar channels or whatever. I don't see YouTube as competition. I mean, some people look at it that way, but I think every individual out there has a unique perspective to give and can build an audience, right? And can do that. So I never like if all you guys start a guitar channel, I'd be happy for you, man. It would be cool. But I know some of you have expertise in other areas, and I think you should do whatever area that you have the expertise in. Julia, I've tried those Diodario NYXLs. I had them on my guitar for a week and I took them off. I did not like them at all. I couldn't stand them. I tried it on one of my electrics and like I said, I think Elixir's strings, I think you either love them or hate them. If you love them, you're probably going to be stuck with them for life, like me. I'll probably never. And again, and these days, I've tried so many other strings, and literally, I'm like, okay, I don't like this. I'm going back. It was killing me during the pandemic. At that time, I was playing my 7 string quite a bit, and Elixir's production had slimmed down, right? And so they weren't making 7 strings. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So I got different strings for the 7 string. I'm like, this sucks. I need my Elixirs back. But again, it's one of the strings you either really love it or you just don't like them at all. And if you love it, it's hard to switch. And I'm at the point now where it's like I've tried so many strings and there's always new strings coming out. I have no interest in trying anything else because I don't really like restringing guitars. And it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. These work really well for me. So, you know. Yeah, regular skeleton. I do love them, man. I like again. I've changed strings so many times, trying new things, and just doesn't work. Other strings just doesn't work for me. Jack says my channel would actually be 3D animation art channel. Dude, that's awesome. That's yeah. And again, so this is a perfect example of like really honing in on something that you're already like really great at. And to me, YouTube is what do I have to give value, right? In what ways can I give value to others with my expertise and with my passion, right? And it's a lot of reason why a lot of times I won't tell you guys like this is how you should or this is how to do something. I know the title might say that sometimes, but my approach is this is how I do it. It may or may not work for you, but I hope that it helps. And if it doesn't, I hope that at least what I showed you will give you a starting point to find out what does work, right? So that approach is something I recommend that everybody give. But yeah, so you're an expert in animation, and that's a craft. That's a skill, man. That's like it probably takes a lot of time to learn that. Regular Skeleton says I was on Reddit and Quora, but haven't been on them since last time. Brian says, how do you go about uploading covers? Try getting mechanical light. Yeah, dude, I honestly stay away from covers. I know I have a couple of videos out there with me playing some bits and pieces of cover songs. What happens with YouTube? The funny thing is, but real quick, you asked this question, how do you upload covers? I just made a video for the Metal Mastermind channel, not this channel, but for Metal Mastermind, and I'll share it on this channel as well. But just made a video. Something happened to me today on Facebook. I noticed Facebook had demonetized everything, which I don't use it for that purpose. I use Facebook to really run advertisements on, to post stuff, it's relevant. I know a lot of you guys are on this as well. And also to promote my live solo gigs. Well, in doing so, I've posted several videos of me playing live covers. Well, they demonetize. I guess it's from that. They won't tell me why I got demonetized. They just says I violated their policy. So I'm like, okay, well, somebody could at least tell me. Hello, But they won't. They just close the case and okay, well. YouTube, on the other hand, if you post you playing a cover song, now don't, and you guys already know this probably, but don't post the actual file. Like I've got a file of the song. Don't put that in your video. You won't get demonetized. You'll get a strike. You don't want that. All right. So, but if you're playing a cover song, you know, I never recommend posting the entire cover song. I know some people do that, and it's fine, whatever, but that's a sure way to get that video demonetized. However, that doesn't mean your entire channel gets demonetized, unlike what happened to me on Facebook today. Uh, and again, I'm making a video on that, but YouTube will demonetize that video, meaning you won't make the revenue from the ad revenue. They'll send that to, you know, the production company or the label or whatever. Uh, but it just depends, you know what I mean? It depends on what is the videos that I put some cover songs on. Like I've got a couple videos out there. Uh, you know, I knew they would get demonetized. I'm like, okay, I won't get any revenue from this video. That's fine, because I'm really wanting to showcase something else, right? So, and I'll be honest with you guys. Faceless, you mentioned you have, you know, all you have is covers, but you don't intend making money, and that's okay. YouTube, you don't necessarily have to make money from the monetization. I encourage you to do that, right? Because why not? But you can also give other calls to action, like, hey, you know, if you like this song, go check out my album. That's a good way to promote your album, and have a link in the description. You know, Faceless, let's say you've got an album, you just came out with a single. You've got your cover song. At the end, it's like, hey, by the way, check out my single. If you like what I just played, hopefully you like my single as well, you know. So something like that. YouTube, you know, allows for that, to give a call to action and go to another link. So that's the power behind doing this. uh, but I don't, yeah, and the laws are different. Like in the UK, you know, the laws are much different. So yeah, I just don't recommend it. Like now, if you're a cover band, if your channel, if that's what it is, and you're posting cover songs there, um, and that's fine. Getting the rights to use a song probably won't happen. Now you can get a mechanical license. Let me back up for a second. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you. If you're releasing your music through a company like CD Baby or TuneCore or whatever, Bandcamp or whatever, you can go through them to get a mechanical license to do that cover song, and then inadvertently use that on your channel, right? Because it's going to tie it back to that license. But if you're just looking, I wouldn't go through the hassle of trying to get mechanical license just to post something on YouTube, because there's not really, like, what that's not going to really do much for you. Uh, what I do, little strategy here. I'm not going to say this works, and I'm not going to recommend it, but this is what I've done. A couple videos where I wanted to display some cover songs, but I wanted to get the monetization from the video too. I would post like a 15 to 20-second clip of one song, then go into another, and so forth, right? And I'm like, whew. I think I did that for my SeaWorld gig. I played a show at SeaWorld in Orlando, a couple of weeks ago, and that video didn't get demonetized. I was like, whew, okay, good. I can make a little revenue off this. So anyway, that's just kind of my advice, Brian. You know, it's and you know, here's the thing. One more thing to answer your question. You know, if your channel is all about covers, that's one. But it sounds like yours is not. So I wouldn't make every video with covers. Maybe like 1 out of every 10 videos, you might want to display a cover or two. Something like that is fine. You know. Dallas said, we do any videos on scales and connected them for solos. Dallas, man, I never think about scales when I'm playing a guitar solo. And to be honest with you, and you're probably going to want to smack me for this, I only know the major and minor scales, but I never think about scales, never. What I think about is when I'm playing a chord progression, and I go over this, and the last video I put out, I actually talk about this a little bit. Let's say just a typical E minor, you know, let's play a C. Let's play the 4 magical chords. This is what every hit song has. A minor and then 3 majors. E minor, C, G, D. So I'm in the key of E minor, right? So and this is just over the years of playing, I know what notes on the fretboard, I know where to go on the fretboard to play the notes that stay in that key, right? All right, so and that comes, for me at least, okay? That comes from just spending time on the fretboard playing. Now, one of the challenges, and this is one thing I challenge you guys to do as well, is take that progression, okay? E minor, C, G, D. I want you to play that. And I wish you guys are here in the room with me right now. I would say, okay, give me that same progression, but you're going to be in the key of B minor, okay? Well, we know that starts with B minor. But to do this, okay, what's the appropriate chords to play to do what we just did in the key of B minor, though? So now I know what that is. It'll be... And you've got a different set of places to go on the fretboard to fit that, right? What if I said C sharp minor? Back to E minor, B minor, A minor. Okay, so, and I'm not trying to show out, guys, just this is what I do because I'm always transposing music. But to my point, I don't ever think about scales, never. I just don't think about scales because to me, the scale has probably already been played like a gazillion times over, you know, and it's like I'm not really interested in playing a scale or connecting scales or any of that because it's just like going from one note to the next. To me, I want to think about what melody am I hearing in my head? And this is a good way to think about this, guys. I think I need to do a video on this too, because now I'm thinking of some really cool ideas that would help you guys. What if I've got this progression? Practice this with me. Think of a melody in your head as I play this. One more time. Okay, so most of you probably had some sort of little melody starting to form. You're like, I hear this in my head. This will sound cool. That's what I want you to translate over to guitar. So what was I hearing? I was hearing something like... What was I playing? E minor? Yeah. Something like that. I had some, and it won't be perfect every time. You saw me, I kind of screwed up at first, right? So, but you hear that first part. I had this. I had that little run going in my head. So you can build from there, okay? And as you hear the melody in your head, it's like, okay, you keep playing around with those notes, trying to match that melody. You'll know if you hit a wrong note because it just won't sound good. You'll be like, oh crap. One of the best things to do is to maybe record that, or record it with a looper or in the studio, and just have it play over. And this is why I give you guys backing tracks, by the way, on my Patreon. Real quick, if you're not on my Patreon, I give you guys, and I haven't really been promoting this that much, but I give you guys backing tracks and tablatures to at least 2 of my YouTube lessons a month. I just posted one yesterday. But this is why I like to give you backing tracks so you can just come up with your own stuff over it. But yeah, I never think about any of that stuff, you know, anything like this theory related. And I'm not knocking music theory, not knocking music theory at all. So let me go. I've missed a couple questions up here, guys. I'm sorry. We got some more stuff coming out. And just think, I was about to end the live stream, but I got some more questions. I'm happy to hang out and answer for at least for another probably 10-15 minutes here. Yeah, scales connecting them. I answered that one. Christian says, do you mind sharing how you forgive yourself for being an abusive and bad person? I was never an abusive person, unless it was abusing myself. I've always treated other people better than me. But I guess that's a form of abuse too. But you know, you don't. It's not something you think about. You know, you have to think like, okay, if you're making different decisions now than you were during that time, you are not a product of those decisions anymore because you've decided to renew yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that you might not suffer some repercussions, right? Like I said, I made a really bad decision on taking out a bunch of student loans back in the day, and I'm still paying for them. I still had to pay them. But I don't. The worst thing you can do, and I did this for years, is the worst thing you do is beat yourself up. Remember this one thing that my friend Christian, I don't know if you're on here earlier when I said this, but a good friend of mine told me there's a reason why your windshield is so much bigger than your rear view mirror. You can check back there every now and then. It's like, okay, that's way behind me in the dust. This is what I'm looking at now. Okay, so you don't really dwell on it, man. You don't allow yourself to dwell on it. And second to that, make sure that your decisions that you're making now support the dream and the vision you have for your life. If you're busy doing that, if you're like, I'm busy doing this stuff, guys. I'm busy. Of course, my wife and I, we spend adequate time together, but I'm busy with music, I'm busy with videos, and I'm busy with writing music on a lot of different fronts. I'm playing live. Whatever you do, when you're busy doing that, you don't have time to think about that stuff anyway, man, because you're busy doing your thing. So I don't know if that helps, man. I hope that it does. But again, your windshield this big, well, bigger than that. Your rear view mirror this tiny. Okay, there's a reason for that. We're supposed to be looking that way. So you just don't allow yourself to beat yourself up, right? Jack is paid to animate, so you call him professional. Yeah, hey, if you're paid to do it, you're professional, right? If you're getting paid to do anything, you're professional, right? Faceless, write that album, dude. Do it now. Yes, guys, smash the like button. Thank you. I'm catching up on the comments here. Just starting, but really want to get some more insight. Good. Yeah, see, no, free falling, a little bit different from free falling. What is free falling? I play that sometimes. A little bit different key there, but close enough. Jack says, have I ever incorporated modes, Dorian modes? Jack, that kind of goes back to the question I had earlier on scales. I don't think about any of that stuff. I can't even tell you what it is, to be honest. I know you guys are probably disappointed. Like, wait a minute, man, you play guitar for a living. How do you not know this stuff? I just don't. I never dug. I'm not saying that you shouldn't dig into it. But I never dug into music theory. I kind of wish, I know I did a video, if I started playing guitar today, what would I do differently? And if I could go back to my younger years, I would have probably wished I would have dove into theory. But you learn theory inadvertently by playing guitar. I just played a progression for you in the key of E minor. I played an E minor, a C, a G, and a D. Then I transposed that progression into other keys. That's all music theory, but I don't think about the theory, right? I don't think about, and as far as when it comes to scales, I mean, I would hear the scales, but scales never really interested me because that's not what's played in real music, And I'm not saying you shouldn't play them. I'm not saying you shouldn't practice them. I didn't take that route, and maybe it's better to take that route. I don't know, but I never took that route, that was never interest me. I wanted to play the slash guitar solo, those weren't scales. Maybe they're built on scales or whatever, but to my knowledge, I don't think Slash thought about scales. I'm like, I hear this melody in my head, I need to translate that to this guitar, just like when I was playing this progression earlier, you guys probably had some melodies going through your mind, like, okay, I hear something. That's power. You want to translate that because the melody, understand, guitar solos, from my perspective anyway, really they're replacing the vocals at that point, which means it's good to have some sort of melody to that, right? So if you hear a progression, you hear these chords being played, and you hear that melody in your head, it's like, man, this would sound cool. Go for that, right? And then you want to put in some techniques, some finger tapping, and build some stuff around it. Fine, that's all fine and dandy, But Alex says, what's some techniques to practice for beginners on guitar? Well, for metal guitar, if you're playing metal guitar, I've got my metal guitar apprentice course. I posted the link earlier. I'll put it out there again here for you. Metal for beginners. Trying to type and hold this guitar, it's not working out too good. So that to answer your question, so that's the link to my beginner's metal guitar course. Not guitar in general. It assumes that you already know some basics, like just basic chords or whatever, but really gets you into the heavy metal style of playing. So, um, and check that out. See if that's something that interests you. Lee says, "Got my pills against mosquito death. My buddy's breathing. Do you know how to play Rooster by? Do I know how to play Rooster by?" No, it's not a song I ever really learned. Is that Alice in Chains? Yeah, yeah. I never really learned. I didn't get too much into like the mid late '90s and 2000s or whatever. Just wasn't. Some music was okay for me back then, and Alice in Chains, of course, that was kind of an exception or whatever. But I never really learned any of that stuff. And again, I don't like. I'm only learning songs. I'm only learning the chords to songs I'm playing out live at my live acoustic shows, um, which are really a lot of 80s pop, to be honest with you. So if you have like an 80s pop or 80s rock song, you could probably name something and there's a good chance I know it. Like I played Free Fallin' earlier for Faceless there. All right, guys, I'll ask one last time if there's you guys have any more questions, let me know. Yeah, Dallas. And Dallas, dude, don't I don't want you to take my word as gospel. Um, I don't want to tell you what's right or what's wrong. There's not a right or wrong answer there. Some people, so I think some people, your mind thinks differently. Some people would rather learn theory and they can really apply that, you know. Um, but me, that's just not how my brain works. You know what I mean? So I think different strokes for different folks. But I'm not saying you shouldn't learn skills, but it's just not what I. Uh, Jack. So yeah. So "Easy Come Easy Go" is a cool Winger song, dude. Easy come, easy go. Really cool tune. Um, so you said it's a Dorian mode. Yeah, I wouldn't know what a Dorian mode is. I mean, if I know it's a type of mode or whatever, but I don't think of things like that on guitar. I just don't. You know, I'd be more apt to play something on guitar and then somebody tell me, "Oh, that was a this mode or what scale," and I wouldn't know it. I wouldn't know the difference. I hear it in my head, and then I play it. A little chromatic. Whatever that was. Again, I don't know. Jack, thanks for stopping in, man. Thanks. Faceless says it doesn't matter if you know the theory, you play the theory. And I agree, Faceless. That's you know, uh, if you've learned to play certain things and you're happy where you're at with guitar and your progress you're making, if you've learned it without diving deep into theory, hey, there are some people out there that say, well, you don't need theory. Maybe some do, maybe some don't. I don't know. I never did. Then there are other people that says, well, you're not a guitar player if you don't know theory. You must learn theory. That's going to make you better. It might not. It might cause you to overthink. It's like, wait a minute, this doesn't fit in the Dorian mode or what? You know what I mean? So it's like, it can be. There's no right or wrong way. There's only the right way for you. I'm a firm believer in that. My fifth grade teacher told me one time, different strokes for different folks. I remember asking her. Her name was Miss Rogers. I think she passed years ago. But something about church came up, and she's like, "Jason, I don't go to church." I'm like, "What?" I grew up in a small town, so everybody went to church, right? Um, and I just thought it was kind of odd. And I'm like, "What do you mean you don't go to church?" She's like, "Jason, different strokes for different folks." And again, this is in fifth grade. I don't remember things that happened yesterday, but I remember that quote from her, and that was very powerful for me. Yeah, Jack. Theories. I mean, and again, guys, you learn theory by default. Every time you pick up your guitar, you're inadvertently learning theory because everything you play, well, that was a G chord. Well, that G is made up of a bunch of notes based on music theory, right? So you're learning it anyway. Uh, but again, depending on depending on what you want to do musically, how far you want to go, will determine whether you how deep you get into the theory. So if I were going to go to Nashville or whatever big studio and work on other people's music projects. I would probably want to learn music theory because they're probably going to hand me sheet music and say, well, you need to play something that goes along with this, right? And just to have that conversation with the other musicians in the room, maybe I would need to dig in a little bit deeper, right? But me, I don't know. Like I said, I listen to stuff. I listen to progressions. I'm like, okay, I'm hearing this over here. Let me translate that to guitar. So that's just what works for me. Yeah, Brian, I think Eddie Van Halen never had lessons, just kind of figured it out, you know. And you're right, and that's kind of what happened to me. I learned the chords. I had a Mel Bay chord book because I think that's the most important. Like as far as theory goes, I think you need to learn your basic chords, right? And maybe you listen and figure it out on your own. But if you look at a chart, a chord chart, which shows you the finger position, okay, that's an E minor, that's a C, that's a D. I think that's important to learn. I learned that very well, and then I started playing bar chords, not in a bar, in a church, because I was playing songs in piano friendly keys like B flat and E flat. I'm like, man, this is hard to play. So I learned bar chords during my first year of playing as well. So I learned a lot of theory without knowing theory, without knowing what it was, right? My guitar mentor at the time was like, well, you play E flat, you play it right here. Okay, my fingers hurt, man. All right, now you got to play an A flat next. Play it like this. Okay, now you got to play a, what is that? A B flat, right? Yeah, so I learned that way, and so I just inadvertently learned that way better. So um, Dallas's theory was getting very confusing. Yeah, knowing knowing and more so than knowing the notes, just knowing where to go when you're in certain progressions, which helps me answer Voden Child's music question here. What's the best way to learn the fretboard? I think the best way to learn the fretboard is playing in different keys, right? A lot of us play metal, so we're in the key of E minor. So we're going to be playing, we'll be playing in that key, right? So playing in that key, if you notice, if you play the same types of patterns all the time, same types of whatever, usually you're playing in the one key all the time. If we switch it up and play in, like, let's say C sharp minor, then you start learning the notes that fit that. And you'll know when you hit a wrong note because it won't sound good. So playing in different keys, I think, is really the best way to approach learning your fretboard better and just becoming a little bit more versatile, because again, one of the curses of being a metal guitar player is we tend to go for the lowest note all the time. Okay, and that's cool and that's great, but it's like everything. Okay, let's go to track 2. Now let's go to track 3. Track 4. Track 5. Right, I'm exaggerating, I'm being comical, but we get caught up. Like, how many albums have you listened to where every song starts the same chord? Everyone. I mean, Master of Puppets, perfect example. I think everything in Master of Puppets starts in that key of E minor with that E power chord. A great album. I love it. It's what started me playing guitar. But every song, and I remember when Godsmack came out, it's like, oh my God, every song not only started with the same chord, same notes, but it sounded the same. It's like, is there a song that's different? No, there's not. Brian, dude, thank you for the super chat. Guys, real quick, if you'd like to donate to the channel, that's always appreciated. Not saying you have to, but I do appreciate that. There's a super chat button. You click that and it allows you to donate. And hey, everything helps. It goes into what I do here. So I really appreciate that. Brian, thank you. Thank you again, man. Aaron Berg says, enjoying the channel. especially for the tips on solo acoustic stuff. I've got more coming for you. I told you guys earlier, I know I shared this earlier, but I'm working on a major video for you guys on how to get started playing these solo gigs. And even if you have no aspiration to do it, I want everybody to see this video. It will change some things within you. I promise you that. You're going to gain some confidence in areas if you take some of the first steps I give you that you're like, holy crap, I didn't know I could do this. A lot of you, some of you already know, it's like, okay, I want to go through this, I want to do this, but some of you are like, I have no interest in that. Wait until you see this video. I hope to have it out in 2 or 3 weeks. I am writing out the script for it now because I've got certain things, I've got a certain journey that I want to take you on to start. And this is what's going to help you really just build up that confidence. You're going to find out that you've got things within you that you didn't even know you had. I know I'm hyping the video up, but I'm very excited about it, obviously. It's taken me a while to put this together because, it's taken me a while because I want to film some of the video at different locations, at different live shows as I give the tips. So that's coming, guys. But yeah. Faceless says the new Meshuggah. So the new Meshuggah, another album where everything starts out the same way. And guys, I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with it. I mean, Meshuggah is a very successful metal band. They have their own thing going on, right? Metallica, the most successful heavy metal band, thrash metal band of all time. Whether you love them or hate them, right? Whether you like the new direction they took or not, which I don't even know how new the direction is. They're still playing distorted guitars. I mean, Hetfield's voice is a bit different now, right? But it is the energy and fire you have when you're just starting something, you're going to take over the world, versus the energy when you've got the wealth and the fame and all that stuff. A little bit different, right? So it might be hard to go back to that old, but they evolve like any band does, and they're still around, still relevant, they sell out shows, man. So, but my point being is, most of their albums all in the same key. I think there are a few songs in the early years. Ride the Lightning and on the Black album and Justice, where they do a song in A minor instead of E minor, but that's about it, man. So it's like everything kind of starts the same. But, and again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I want you guys to think about, when you're thinking about things like, how do I learn the fretboard better? You're not going to learn it that well playing in the same key all the time, because you're just going to be in those safe zones, right? If you're in E minor, the safe zone is... Almost got a pinch harmonic. Pinch harmonics on acoustic. I'd rather have these, Anyway, so my point is, when you're playing in the same key or the same two keys, E minor and A minor, you've got comfort zones throughout the fretboard, and there are notes that you're not ever playing. So unless you change keys, right? Unless you change keys, you're not going to venture outside of that comfort zone that you're in. So just let that be one of the things to think about. Faceless says there are 1,000,001 backing tracks on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. That might be something that I might put a backing track out there every now and then, but not just one backing track. Maybe I'll do like a 20-minute backing track. I don't know. If that's something you guys would like to see now and then, I don't mind doing that. Brian says, always found learning the fretboard fairly easy. Finding you is playing in the other places. Yeah. And again, a big way to do that is changing keys. Because again, if you play in the same key, you might learn the fretboard better, but you're only learning the notes in that key. Venture out. You want to do something real crazy, like that will just throw you for a loop. Play something in E flat, okay? I'm serious. Play, and this is probably a chord you'll never use, a key you'll never use, but play E flat. Or E flat minor, I should say, just so it's a little bit darker and metal. weird. So play an E flat minor, then play a B, then play a C sharp, then play a B flat minor. Now record that and solo to that. You're going to be like, huh? Wait a minute, I'm not used to using these frets. That is how you learn the fretboard. And I almost hit a wrong note, see? I don't play an E flat that often, but and again, it just helps you, it really just helps you to expand, you know, and get out there and get out of that same routine. And that might be a bad example in the key of E flat, because again, it might not be something you use, but one of the things I tell people too, people say, well, how do you play this song? Can you do a lesson on, you know, playing in down tuned to C standard or something like that? Well, if you hear a song you like that's down tuned to C standard, it's probably in C minor, figure that out on a 6-string in standard tuning. That's going to throw you for a loop as well. So any of these things you can do to kind of break you out, you know, break you out of that same all the time. Regular skeleton. Oh, I forgot one thing. I also like their Sisiscus. I don't know what that is, brother. It might be another band. I don't know. Jimmy, what would you suggest for a beginner left-handed guitar player? Type of guitar, I mean, I guess most every brand, especially Ibanez, you know, Faceless was talking about Ibanez earlier. We're kind of agreeing on it. So that's a brand you really can't go wrong with, you know. That's something. So I'm sure Ibanez has a plethora of left-handed guitars that you can play. So that would be cool. Okay, Meshuggah. Yeah, dude, I've never heard any of Meshuggah stuff. I think I've listened to like 1 or 2 songs, parts of it. It's not necessarily my style. I mean, I'm glad they exist. Don't misinterpret me. You know, I'm glad that bands like Meshuggah exist, because it fills a void. It fills a gap that, you know, that was there before. Because a lot of people like them. It's just not something I listen to. You know, if it were on the radio, if it came on, and I think Meshuggah song came on in the gym one day, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool, but it's not something I go to. Oh, Faceless, I thought you were way too young to know what a cassette was, dude. You're older than me, right, man? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. I'm 47. You don't have to put your age out there, brother. But you can if you want. Test to build. Okay, got it. See, you're not 78, dude. You're born in 78. Yeah. Now, you're being born in 78. That's more believable. Stoddard says Ibanez Geo is good price. Yeah, the Geos make some left-handed guitars. The Geos are really Faceless. So, dude, you're born in 1978, or you are 78? I don't think you're 78. You don't look like you're 78. What do you got, a profile picture of like 30 years ago? No, I know you're not. You're born in 78. Yeah. That's more believable. That means you're younger than me, dude. By 3 years, man. Yeah, I've seen you on Insta as well. I thought you were in your 30s though, bro. Ibanez Geo. Yeah, the Ibanez's are good. The Ibanez are really good. All right, guys, I'll give 1 minute. If you have any questions, drop them now. I'll hang out and answer some more questions and whatever you guys have. After about a minute, then I'm going to sign off here. We've been on for almost 2 hours now, which is cool. I like hanging out with you guys, but I do have some work I need to do at some point. I got to change my strings, too. I got 2 gigs this weekend, so these strings a little... Brian's born in 73, yep. Yeah, we grew up in a good era, man. Really good era. And I'm looking over here because that's where my computer is. Seeing all your comments, you know, in case you guys are like, what is he looking at over there? All right, guys, we're gonna wrap things up. Hey, I just want to say I appreciate everybody being on today. Thank you, guys. I was testing out a new time. I think I started this at 3 o'clock today, my time, Eastern Standard Time. So this time seems to work pretty good. I know a lot of my European audience cannot join the other live gigs I had. Yeah, Ocean Bleed. As soon as I get off here, I'm gonna change these strings, man. So on that note, guys, thank you so much once again. I really do appreciate all of you, all the support, supporting the channel, everything I do here. Couldn't do this without you. I know I'm a small time YouTube guy here, but of course I do all these other things too, which you guys support. So I appreciate you. Guys, I'm going to sign off. Look for another video coming out probably on Sunday. I've got something new coming out for you, and I'm continuing to work on this this tutorial for getting started playing live shows. That's coming up probably in a couple, 2 or 3 weeks here. So, guys, thank you once again. Keep it metal. I know we got the acoustic today, but keep it metal. I'll see you guys again very soon.